Alright, so I was bringing up my notes here, and just to, I'm going to record this since I only have my phone, so I'm going to record this, and then I'll play it while I'm fucking video recording. But in December 19th of 2019 at 10 p.m., I wrote this down about breathing. This is probably roughly around the time when I was really deep into studying of it, before I knew a lot of the shit that I know now, though, so... But that's why I say when you re-look at a topic, so if you make yourself limited and you believe you only know or you already know everything there is to know about something, well then you stop and remove the chance to learn more about that thing. It's okay to keep going topic to topic to topic and learning and having a well-rounded, because if you ever go on a show, if I know everything there is to know about breathing but I don't know shit about anything else, well, whenever other questions come up, other things come up, that person can make me look real stupid. And I can look like a fucking expert on the one topic, but everything else I'm not going to look very smart, so it's not going to look very well-rounded. I'm only going to shine in one area, so it's good to know be well-rounded and versed at everything. But if you can draw correspondences from one thing to another, then you can explain everything. You know, I think a TED Talk, their definition of genius is whenever you can take something complicated and reduce it to something that everybody understands. Now, I think they took that quote from somewhere, but I can't remember where, so that's why I'm just giving TED Talk the fucking, as the source of where I get my information, because I always give the source, right? And like I've been saying about the whole Thunder Wizard thing, like I'm trying to like do a type of apology at the same time as explain my actions, and you know he can spin that and say whatever he wants about me being unevolved, but in the same sense he does a show where he answers people's comments, and when he says ceremonial witchcraft says we have a lizard brain, and that's all he said out of my comment. So once again, why would he only mention that part and not mention the whole thing? Because prior to that he said, okay, this one is like a fucking... There was someone else's comment, and I thought he might have been talking about mine. But as someone else's comment, he said, hey, this is like a fucking book. If you're going to write this much, make a video, and then... Because you clearly have a lot to say. And it was somebody else he was talking to. And then on my comment, he didn't say that, right? He ended up saying only the one part of my comment. So that tells me a couple things. One, like everything else, like anybody else, if you don't want to draw attention to something, all right, then you don't make a big deal out of it. If he would have said the same thing about mine, once again, this guy's got a lot to say, I'm not going to look at it, people would have went and looked at it to see what the fuck I had to say. But by only saying that, then they take his word for it, because most people won't go look. They won't go look at anything. Most people will take his word for it, and you can say it's because we're ignorant, but I think it's because most of us just want to trust people. And that's a stupid stance, unfortunately, but at least it tells us that people are, or at least used to be, more honest. But anyways, so he only said that I said that part, that we have a reptilian brain. And once again, so for as evolved and as depolarized as I give him credit for, he obviously didn't want people to know that, so he can take that information on himself, so he can have plausible deniability. So whenever, if I was to say, hey, you stole my information, you've been using my comment, which I was going to do, and then I realized that would just be stupid, and he could say, no, I already knew all this shit, and that's not what you said at all, because what he said wasn't what I said, but it's what inspired him to say what he said. So he took the prana out of my fucking comment, and it inspired something in his mind to comment on it. And by not saying anything, I can't go back to that video and say, hey, he only said this. So we can say, well, the whole comment doesn't show. You have to hit the show more. I never hit the show more, so I never read it all. And, fine. I'm pretty sure he did, but fine. It doesn't matter. That's all. It doesn't fucking matter. Only thing I was trying to point out there was that we all have work to do. Even the fucking gurus that are selling programs, even the guys like me trying to give out as much free knowledge as I have learned. And I'm far from fucking learning a lot, but the things I do know, I've expanded on and tore down and regrouped and extract lessons out of it, and just over and over and over again overthought it, overstimulated it. And like I said, if there's something I'm stuck on, I do a wide variety of fucking things to understand it, from recording it all and listening to it in my sleep, to laying down the book like an Edgar Casey style thing when he laid down on top of the fucking the one book his dad wanted him to remember. He was terrible at fucking learning shit. He laid on the book for 15 minutes. He knew the whole fucking book. Now, that's a story. Who knows? Point is, though, if you believe that that's true and you fucking do it, then you can fucking do it. Your subconscious picks up everything. But anyways, I'm supposed to be reading something. So get back to this is a note. This is a note of December 2019 at 10 p.m. Breathing 4 to 6 times per minute. So this is where the fourfold breath comes in. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold no breath for 4. Holding no breath for 4 is harder. If you have to do 3 or 2, whatever, just start off with something and keep it consistent and work your way up. But doing that makes you breathe 4 times per minute roughly, because 16 seconds times 4 ends up being what, like 64 fucking seconds, something like that. 6 and 6 is 8. 56, I don't know. Anyways, I can't do fucking math anymore. It's terrible. 6 8, 6 6 is 8, 8 and 8 is 6 and 6 is a fucking 2. What am I talking about? Anyways, so you get where I'm going with it. I don't have time to do this. I'm driving right now. I'm sorry, everybody. Anyway, so healthier heart and circular system, almost same effect as cardio exercise. And that's what was one of the benefits that I wrote down. But now, after re-looking into this, I actually understand how that operates, and I've already explained that. When you do cardio, your body is in the sympathetic, which concentrates on bringing oxygen in. Now, the more oxygen you bring in, the more you can change the fats in your body into carbon dioxide, CO2, and water, H2O. And those are the burn-offs. This is why you sweat. This is why you have to pee. This is why if you just drink a lot of water, you lose water weight. Well, that's that 15 to 20% of water that gets burnt off. And the rest of it has to be breathed out. And then once you're done, you're told to fucking slow down your heart rate, and that's activating the parasympathetic. This is why exercise is so good for you, because if people aren't doing this, they at least do it whenever they're exercising, if they exercise right. But if they're not exercising right and they're always in sympathetic, well, then they're just double fucking themselves up. But so you bring in lots of oxygen, then you exhale all that CO2 and you're able to lose it, and that's how it effectively leaves your body. Anxiety relief, drops breathing calls the parasympathetic nervous system rather than sympathetic system, which activates fight or flight. See, this is the information I had fucking not quite a year ago, but actually December 19th isn't that long ago, so fucking 5-6 months ago. So this is not when I initially looked at this stuff. But anyways, sorry, ADD kicking in. Detox, shallow breath doesn't remove CO2. So for detoxing, your shallow breath does not remove CO2 versus deep breath does, and other organs don't have to. Natural pain relief releases endorphins, boosts mood, reduces pain, and energy boosts. This is just point form. I just fucking write shit down fast so I can remember it. Because as long as I get it out, then the information is somewhere I can come back and look at it. But if you're trying to store everything in your head and not writing shit down, then you're going to lose it. Understand that. Eventually you'll come back to it, but it's going to take a hell of a lot longer. If you write it down, then your mind doesn't have to focus on it. It's literally somewhere. It's somewhere in the physical, and thus you can use your mind for other things. That's why it's beneficial to do this and have a sleep journal and all that. Because a sleep journal, if you're trying to remember your dream, it's hard. But if you fucking write it down, start writing it, it starts coming to you. But you don't have to hold on to it. You know what I mean? Anyways, natural pain relief. Oh, I already said that. Better sleep helps get out of head and worries, puts you in theta, hurts. That's something we're going to go into in huge depth, especially when it comes to hypnosis, doing self-hypnosis, couple do's and don'ts, and how to do it yourself properly, how I thought I did it properly anyways, because you want to control all the variables. If you're putting yourself in a theta brain state, anything you take in is going to be fucking thrown right into your subconscious, and is, it makes you programmable. So you don't want to fucking do this wrong, by no means. Anyways, mental clarity and happiness. Breathing less helps focus on concentration and willpower and pulse, and that's where it stops. So that's my old notes. But now I want to get into the definitions, because I keep saying I'm going to get into definitions and I never do. All right, let's see where the fuck I put them. Hopefully they're somewhere here. That'd be shitty if I lost them. Let's go to Aquarius. Holy fuck, man. Sorry, everybody. I'm a fucking tool sometimes. Oh, son of a bitch. Alright, so it looks like I fucking lost them. Let's just see. Okay, never mind. I got them right here. Alright, I said correct breathing helps enlightenment like mental function. One generation of correct breathers could fix the problem of breathing, period. And that's one of the things I want to focus on. I want to get the information out there to help breathing. Because even if you just focus on the benefits, not even saying this is how you defend against coronavirus or anything like that, which is true, but as you can say, respiratory system, all the fuck you want. It doesn't matter. You start breathing in fucking deeply a few fucking times a day, then you can wear that mask without worrying about restricting your oxygen. Then you don't have to worry about none of this shit, because the majority of your day you'll be in the parasympathetic versus the sympathetic. You want to go out and be in sympathetic, fight or flight, that's fine. Go for it. I don't think it's fucking good. I think you're better off being in the sympathetic, because your body fights things and does more benefits for you. But nonetheless, at least if you're doing that when you come home, before you go out, you'll be fucking, if you're more in the parasympathetic than the sympathetic, then even when you go into sympathetic, if you're in that fight or flight and you're shutting down your immune system, and you're more apt to get something, because those masks have been proven that the virus, if someone talks to you and the fucking shit spits on your fucking mask, well, that's right there. You're going to intake it. So anyways, kind of like the condom in AIDS, what they told me when I was growing up, that the AIDS virus is smaller than the fibers in the condom, therefore the condom doesn't even protect you from AIDS. Talk about fucking spreading fear to make you not have sex, to fucking suppress your sexual fucking drive. But anyways, breathe, breath, spirit, pranayama, microcosmic orbit. Is this all I wrote there? Obviously I meant to elaborate on that, and I already have, but I'm going to go in more depth. Meditation is the ability to concentrate on one thing at a time. I already talked about that, but I'll go into that more in depth. Healing, rhythm, rhythm breathing is healing. Do away with the fear and worry, and autonomic and sympathetic. So that's when I had the wrong information. I thought it was autonomic versus sympathetic, but the autonomic nervous system is made up from your sympathetic and your parasympathetic. Now, SPIR, spur, is the root word, and where spiritus comes from, and breath, and all those. So wind, spirit, breath, person, animation, sigh. The Latin root word spir means breath, or means breathe, actually. The root word origins of a fair number of English vocabulary words includes inspire, respiration, and expire. The Latin root word spir means breathe. The root word is the origin of a fair number of blah blah blah, includes inspire, respire, and expire. The root spir is easily recalled via the word perspiration, that is sweat in the act of breathing through the pores of your skin. If you want to know what my thoughts on that, initiation into hermetics, he teaches how to breathe through your skin, why it's important to take the top layer of skin off. Your skin is an organ after all. I've already went through this in my previous videos into depth. And like I said, if you think this is horseshit, look up epilepsy and look at why someone who is epileptic shouldn't be around water. And real fast, the reason is when they go into water, an epileptic, when they're having a seizure, they breathe through the pores. I heard this from the mouth of a fucking doctor, and then I looked it up. If you don't believe me, call a fucking doctor and ask. Straight up, it's true. Your skin breathes. How many times have you said that? What's leather? Leather is fucking horse or fucking cow fucking hide, which is basically their skin, right? Why do they say not to put water on it? Because it breathes and you'll wreck it. Is that not true? Alright, so let's keep going here. That's enough fucking proof of me having to prove my point. And this is why I don't think anybody will ever fucking want to debate me, because I'll fucking tear a hole in everybody and anybody. But my mind is made for this. But it's not good for my ego, so I wouldn't fucking do it anyways. So the spir or spiro is Latin and it is defined as breathe, or is Greek and is defined as spiral. Very interesting. Spiral, right? When you're doing microcosmic orbit, this is spinning energy in your danation. I can't fucking pronounce that word. D-A-N-T-I-O-N or T-I-A-N. Danation. It's where the prana is stored within you, and you release it from there. But anyways, and a spiral is like fucking 360s, but 360 always ends up to 9, 180 ends up to 9, 270 ends up to 9, 90 degrees is 9, 45 is 9, 720, 540, 1080, they all add up to 9, right? These 360s is 9, 9, 9, 9 is a magical number, 369 are all fucking magical numbers. Anyways, so an example of spir is as a prefix in the word spirograph, which means a chart regarding airflow, which is also interesting, right? Because like your birth chart comes in a circle, right? It's made up from 12 parts, while your brain just happens to have 12 fucking nerves, all right? And there's definitely a correlation there. Now, it's not an even perfect tidy thing, and I'm gonna fucking eventually figure out how they all relate. But even when it comes to the brain, your nerves are either sensor, motory, or both. Just like fixed, mutable, and cardinal whenever it comes to the fucking the science. So I find that fucking fascinating as hell. But anyways, I'm already at 15 minutes just on the recording. This is going to be a shitty fucking video. But anyways, inspiration has an unusual history that its figurative sense appears to predate its literal one. It comes from the Latin inspiratus, the past participle of inspirare, to breathe into, inspire. So that's what the old one, the old version of the old inspirare. That's what inspirare means, but that's inspire. But anyways, and in English has the meaning drawing of air into lungs. So this is why I'm talking about when you're getting ideas. Ideas, you think they come from your head, but they're coming from your fucking breath. And why is that? Well, because when you breathe, you're taking in something. There's something else in the breath than just oxygen, and then you turn it into carbon dioxide, right? But the point is, you're bringing something in, and then you get the thoughts. So every time you breathe, which is 23,000 times a day or something to that effect, you're bringing in these thoughts. And this is why you have to reject, banish, deny, or accept the ones you want. Because if you don't do that, then your body's just going to take it on. Like I said, think of it as either your subconscious asking you, hey, is this what you want to play out or not? Because that's the one controlling shit, but it wants you to guide it, because you're the one that has to live these experiences. It's just creating it. Or you can think of it as spirits, because that's just kind of what I'm going here. Breath, prana, spirits, spiritual, the spirits beside you, dark entities or light entities. Which one do you want? Do you want to fucking follow the negative? Do you want to follow positive? Once again, I'm not trying to say the negative entities or negativity or the negative polarity is bad, because it's definitely useful. If you are in a situation where there's fucking a bunch of disease around, well, you should be fearful and run the fuck out of there. If someone's going to come to your house and harm you and your family, well, then you should be in fear and fucking fight against them. This is definitely needed at times, but not for the majority of your day by any means or any stretch of the imagination. Should you be in this more in the sympathetic for the most part of the day, that fucks you up. Etymology of the modern English word spirit comes from the Latin spiritus, but also spirit, soul, courage, bigger, ultimately from a Proto-Indo-European PEIS, is distinguished. And that P might even be silent, so it might be just EIS or SACE. But anyways, is distinguished from the Latin anima, soul, which makes sense. Because, anyways, which nonetheless also derived from an Indo-European root meaning to breathe. So the soul is to breathe. To breathe is the soul in Greek. Sevenfold mystery of spirit, including the spirit of the Lord and the spirit of wisdom and understanding and of counsel, of might, of knowledge, and of fear of the Lord are represented the seven spirits which are before the throne of God. Once again, there's your fucking seven, your planets. You can figure out which ones are which, but they're all there. The Spirit of God hovering over the waters in some translations of Genesis comes from the Hebrew phrase Ruach Elohim, which has alternately been interpreted as a great wind, which is bullshit. But anyways, Ruach has the meaning wind, spirit, breath. Ruach has that meaning apparently. And Elohim can mean great as well as God, which is bullshit. Elohim means it's for like many gods or many gods, like the seven. But anyways, that's not completely accurate either, but helpful to know. But I like when it says Spirit of God hovering over the waters, right? What is above water whenever you're looking at the four directions? Well, it's air, is it not? Air is hovering above water, just like male and female are beside each other, and then they have the air above it, but on the pentagram the top point is spirit, and then air is also separate on there. It's just another way of interpreting it, and it's definitely a useful way. Now, pneuma, which is almost like the starting of pneumonia. It looks like pneumatic almost. Okay, pneuma is an ancient Greek word for breath, and in a religious context for spirit or soul. So spirit, soul is pneuma, which starts with a P, like pneumonia, right? Just think about that. In classical philosophy, it is distinguishable from psyche, which originally meant breath of life, but is regularly translated as spirit, or most often soul. So psyche is what pneumonia or pneuma means in a religious term. And you can say, well, why would they name pneumonia, a respiratory fucking illness, after psyche or spirit or soul? Well, it's something attacking your spirit, psyche, or soul. And you can say, no, that doesn't make sense. It's just a respiratory thing. Buddy, whoever's listening who thinks that shit, you really need to start rethinking, re-looking at what your fucking respiratory system is, what air is, and how fucking goddamn important it is. For everybody and anybody just to think that breathing is not as important as eating or drinking is a fucking idiot. And that's the point of what I'm doing here. Pneuma. Oh, wait. The Greek word for spirit is pneuma. Anyways, which has a similar meaning to the word ruach. See? Pneuma. Ruach. To breathe. Blow primarily denotes the wind, breath. The spirit, which, like the wind, is invisible, immaterial, and powerful. And then the rest is just bullshit. But anyways, so that's all I wanted to put out here. I just wanted to say all those. I'm going to elaborate on that later or soon.